East Hampton Town Trustees, we are live.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the East Hampton Town Trustees for August 11th, 2024. And I'd like to open the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Arlene, can you do roll call, please?
1 second. John Aldred.
Here.
Francis Bob.
Here.
David Cataletta.
Here.
Patrice Stolten.
Here.
Ben Dollinger.
Here.
Tim Garneau.
Here.
Jim Grimes. Celia Josephson.
Here.
And William Taylor.
Here.
Thank you.
Jason, do we have anybody on the phone lines?
I'm opening up the public comment now. Currently, nobody's on the phone lines waiting for us, but I'm making sure the number is on the screen.
Great, thank you. All right, so we'll start with our audience. We have a request from Bob Keeman of South Fork Sea Farmers and East Hampton High School science students, Zoe McDonald and Hudson Tansman, to install 2 new oyster reefs in 3 Mile Harbor. Would you like to come up to the podium?
Thanks for coming, guys.
Good evening. My name is Hudson Tansman, and this is my fellow intern.
Zoe McDonald.
Carly Sucker and Wiley Stern also helped us with this project and the slideshow, but me and Zoe will just be presenting. So today we're here to propose the addition of our 5th and 6th oyster reef in 3 Mile Harbor. The previous reefs that we've implemented have been wildly successful. They've been successfully filtering the water column of harmful pollutants, creating abundant habitat to increase additional biodiversity, and have contributed to the greater overall health of 3 Mile Harbor. On a rock that we saw while checking the oysters, we saw oyster spat, which basically shows that the oysters are spawning and reproducing naturally, which is a really good sign of oyster health and reef prosperity. Thank you. A little bit about us is we are interns of the South Fork Sea Farmers, which is a nonprofit that aims to educate and raise awareness of the importance of sustainable marine aquaculture and to inspire constructive action programs. A lot of our work has been hand in hand with the East Hampton Shellfish Hatchery, who had been breeding our oyster spat, which makes up our oyster reef. As I'm sure a lot of you know, a lot of our local harbors, bays, and ponds have been negatively impacted by algal blooms. This is a result of runoff from fertilizer as pesticides, farmland, and faulty septic systems. A natural solution to this is the oyster. The oyster is a filter feeder, meaning that they take in nutrients for themselves while simultaneously take contaminants out of the water body, which both, of course, cleans the water, but also provides the local ecosystem what it needs to thrive. Other plants and animals are no longer affected by the ecosystem, by the harmful algal blooms. The oysters themselves create habitat for these animals and is essential for the ecosystem. And then I'll pass it on to Zoe.
Our method into putting these reefs in the water. Oyster spat, which is baby oysters, attached to clamshells collected from local restaurants, are placed into biodegradable bags. We choose a proper location, meaning having a good water flow and a solid bottom. Next, we involve the community. Empty bags, shells with no spat, are placed next to the reef to monitor for natural reef growth. This is the new shell collection program. This is how our reef is set up. The cross section is 2 by 25 yards. The top layer are shells with spat, and the bottom layer are clams and oyster shells. The cross section takes pollutions out of the water. Oysters create a natural wall to stop wave energy, resulting in less wave erosion. Location 5. The location was chosen for its distance from the inlet and solid bottom. These were areas conducive to reef development and furthest towards the end of the harbor. This location will be easily accessible for construction and monitoring. The waters are restricted year-round. Here's a clearer photo, and the reef will be curved so it's more aligned to shore. Location 6 was chosen for the same reasons, the good solid bottom and the accessibility and easy monitoring. This will also be curved. Thank you to East Hampton Marina, 3 Mile Harbor, and Paddle Diva for their support. Questions?
Thank you, Zoe and Hudson. That was great. So yeah, just like in a couple of months or maybe like in the spring, come back and let us know what's going on. Right?
Yep.
You guys are juniors now, or are you going to be seniors?
We're gonna be
We're going to be
sophomores.
sophomores, what I think. Okay. So you got plenty of time. Yeah.
Where do you plan on servicing the reefs from? How are you going to get there? How do you plan to get there?
Well, we have paddle boarded there, and we've also we're planning on maybe taking a boat because sometimes it takes too long, and we've been working from there like that.
You can access that by land also.
Yeah.
It's probably easier in the winter.
Anyone else?
How long is each reef? What is that?
2 by 25 yards.
25 yards?
When do you guys plan to put the reefs in the water?
I think we plan to do it, next June. Yeah, like beginning of June next year, because instead of this winter.
Have either of you worked on the previous reefs that have been installed?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
What's the status of your permission from the DEC?
The first step is getting your permission. They won't accept our paperwork until we have your permission. So that's actually next Wednesday's meeting.
Anybody else?
Make a motion that we approve both of these reefs.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Good
so
luck
much.
with it, guys.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Good to see you. What's up?
All right. Is there anybody else who wants to address the board? No? Okay. Jason, anybody on the phone lines?
We have no callers on the line.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to new business. We have a request from Peter Mendelman of 60 Harborview Lane, County Tax Map 300-57-6-3, to recategorize the docks off the property to commercial as the property is zoned as a waterfront business zone. Who wants to start?
Well, that 60 Harborview is zoned waterfront. And that allows
Thank you.
the owner to operate as a marina, or marina is an approved use there. So basically the slips off the dock, off the bulkhead can be rented and are being rented commercially. It's an approved use. That's how that's been operated for a long time, sort of as an adjunct to Harbor Marina. And our dock agreements and charges have been categorizing it as a residential dock. So now that we know that it's really a commercial, we just need to switch it over to commercial charge for the dock agreement.
I know there's an interest in preserving the working waterfront in our town, in Southampton as well. And I think this is consistent with the working waterfront, the activities that are permitted, and so I would support this.
What is the difference in the fee?
But right now, it's recreational is being charged by the square foot, but commercial is still being charged by the lineal foot. I think before, when they were both being charged by the lineal foot, what was the difference in per foot charge?
Right now, it's
Well, when they were both being charged by the lineal foot, what was the difference between the recreational rate and the commercial rate?
don't recall.
I can answer.
Arlene would be able to answer.
Recreational used to be $3 a foot, then we raised the commercial to $4, then we raised the residential to $4. So it's been about the same now for a couple of years, yeah.
So is this a private residence or it's owned by the?
It's a residence that, yeah, it's a house lot. But the history is that the people who lived there prior to the Mendelmans, or maybe even prior to the people Mendelman bought it from, were sort of operated marine repair business out of the place. They were associated with Harbor Marina.
It's touching, it's right next to it. Let's see.
Yeah, it just seems like a paperwork thing. That's
Yeah.
no real, just to keep it consistent from them.
And it's been confirmed that this property is registered similarly with the other apartments within the town?
Yeah, it's waterfront zoned. And then they recently got a natural resource special permit for rebuilding the bulkhead and installing the permeable reactive barrier. And it was acknowledged in the natural resource special permit that the use was consistent with the zoning. Everybody's will now be on the same page.
Okay. So what,
I'll make a motion.
do we need to vote on this?
Second.
Rick, is this something we need to vote on?
I'm not fully clear as to what the difference in your, between what you consider residential and commercial, what difference does it make to the landowner? Sounds like the rates that you charge are the same. What difference is it?
Well, they didn't used to be the same.
They're not the same
Marinas were always charged a little bit more than residential. They happened to catch up to each other in the last couple of years, but now they're diverging again because charging residential now by the square foot, but commercial are still, we haven't changed that, so
Still
they're
linear?
still being by linear foot.
So, do you, in other words, I'm thinking whether you need a formal resolution of some sort. Do you have any listing of what you categorize as commercial versus residential?
I think it's based on zoning. Commercial is based.
Peter Mendelman is asking this for you to change how you classify it.
We classify charging for his dockage there. Yeah.
Okay, but you actually might charge more for the commercial dock. Not the same measuring stick.
Well, probably not at the moment because they were both the same.
So in other words, do you have a list of what docks are commercial and what docks are residential? Because you're being asked to switch from one list to the other list.
Right, this would be, yeah.
You have an inventory? Where it's actually written down?
We do have an inventory. We do have an inventory.
Okay.
As far as I know, this is the only waterfront zoned piece of property that we deal with. All the commercial docks are in marinas, which are commercially zoned.
They're all in the waterfront zone. All of the, within your waters, all of the commercially zoned properties that are but your waters are in the waterfront zoning district. The only exception, I checked the zoning map, is the Springs General Store, which barely touches on Acrobata Creek, is in the neighborhood business zone. Every other property that's commercially zoned on your waterways is zoned waterfront, including this one.
This will match everything else. commercial.
So I don't know whether you want a resolution or you simply write a letter. I mean, just change your records, however you want to do it.
Why don't you make that motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Was this dock in like our inventory for residential? It is?
was.
Oh, okay.
It was, now it's looking to switch.
Yeah.
The assumption was it was a residence, and therefore it was a residential dock.
Now, is it my understanding that there are some slips that are currently being rented? Okay.
And have been for many years.
Right, right. So, all in favor of changing the designation to commercial? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who seconded it?
Can you repeat who?
David. David.
Was that,
David seconded.
somebody said, will you repeat?
Yeah, I'm having a really hard time hearing much of what any of you were saying, so I just asked you to repeat it,
Yeah, it's Anderson.
so I can record it.
Okay, turn it off.
It's not easy.
There's a noisy air conditioning register over here, which is muffling in
Can
a
we
lot of
kill
what you
it?
say.
It's kind of cold.
Yeah, I don't think we have access
HVAC
to it.
system.
All right, let's move on to old business. Acceptance of the 2024 financial audit by Norwalk Smith. I know Patrice has looked at it.
I reviewed it.
You've reviewed it also.
I'm prepared to approve. I am too.
Make motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Mosquito, committee reports, mosquito larvae survey.
Patrice and Celia.
I got that one, thank you.
Mosquito larvae survey.
Yeah, I think that's you.
Yeah, we checked this morning and there was almost nothing out there. Actually, Edwina on the north walk found not one mosquito larva.
Why do you suppose there's such a big difference between this visit versus last?
They sprayed.
Okay.
Well, I think it's also, it has rained.
Uh-huh.
Very dry.
Okay.
There were pools that we've never seen dry, that we've saw dry this morning.
And isn't it the stage of life that matters? So it's the larval mosquitoes versus the adults?
We're just checking for larvae.
Right.
I mean, the adults will lay eggs in the mud, and then when the water comes in, the eggs will hatch, and you'll see the larvae in the water. Usually, why we went when we went, why we've been going when we've been going is on the moon tides. The tide is expected to move higher in the marsh and flood those areas that eggs have been laid in, and then we should find larvae in the water that's there. But it's been so dry, so the upper reaches, which are influenced by rainfall, were dry, and then apparently the tide didn't was very high this morning. So there'll still be no spraying this week.
That's cool.
Or I should say, no dropping of pellets.
All right.
Thanks, Joe.
2025 South Forkland Fishery Study Summer Trawl Survey.
Okay, I'm gonna try to share my screen here and find this thing.
We got
There you
something.
go. Yeah, John, nice. My tech.
So the summer trawl survey, part of the South Fork Wind Fisheries Study, will be taking place this week between the 10th, August 10th and 15th. The trawl survey will taking place between Smith Point Inlet and Montauk Point. Fixed gear fishermen are encouraged to contact Alex Otto from Cornell Cooperative Extension with information on the location of their gear. So the trawls don't take place in that area. This information is on the trustee website, and all the contact information is part of this announcement. People can go there. During the survey, when the survey is taking place, fishermen are encouraged to contact the vessel, which is the fishing vessel Bulldog, on channel 13 or 16 VHF radio. They can get the daily trawl survey from the boat and communicate helpful information to either the captain or Tara McClintock, the Cornell Cooperative Extension scientist that'll be on board the boat. So that's taking place this week. I'm not sure they started yet, but anybody has an interest out there, go to the trustee website and get all the detailed information.
Can we get information about the amount of current that's flowing through the cable? On both sides, so we have current coming from east to west, and then we have no current theoretically in that red part, so from west to west, right? There shouldn't be any current there.
The cable.
There's no cable there.
The cable, in state waters, the cable only runs north-south.
Oh, okay.
The cable runs east-west outside the 3 miles, I believe. And then it turns in.
Go straight in.
To go to Beach Lane, and then comes north-south through state waters.
So the question I have is how much current is going into that area? Because we're expecting it to be significant enough that the fish are going to alter their behavior in response. That would be the hypothesis. And we might not see any change in their behavior at all, because there might not be that much current. I don't know.
Well, I don't know either.
But do they collect, is that part of the study?
I'm sure that information's available from South Fork Wind. I don't know what whether it's proprietary or whether they're willing to share it, or maybe they'll share it with the researchers in their analysis.
Yeah.
I don't really know the answer to that.
Yeah, I would think it's going to vary depending on the winds, right? There'll be times where there's probably barely anything going through it.
Because I know they had filed it when they, way back, they had filed how much current was going through the cable, but only that one time was it, was part of a filing. And then after that, we don't know. I don't think that.
I think it's known. We don't get that information regularly. It varies, and there's a certain number of things producing electricity, and according to the wind volume, they have it all calibrated. I'm sure they'll share the information with anybody that wants it. Also with the scientists, they can correlate the dates and the wind.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with this design. And the only thing I'm not comfortable about is what is the intervention, which is the cable. That's the intervention. That's what we're interested in. So as long as the researchers have that, I don't need it because I don't even understand it. But they need to validate their assumptions about what that is.
Yeah, I'm not.
Maybe we can ask them next time they have a
I think
meeting.
this thing was really designed to quite simply give us an idea of what the migration was before the cable was installed and what's happening after.
Well, now we don't have that really. We're looking more at.
It's not complete either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what Francis is saying is, I think the study is a little bit more generalized than you might be looking at it.
Mm.
Because this is over 5 years. They're doing, trawls in this whole area 4 times a year. They're really looking at the fish assemblages. So they're really trying to compare, large chunks of information about what's there before and after and during. Before there's a charge cable and then after there's a charge cable. And I'm not sure that calls for knowing detailed information about how much electricity is going through the cable, minute to minute.
No, not minute to minute. And again, I'm not asking for minute to minute. I'm just thinking it's something, when you're analyzing the data, you want to be able to say, this was average, this was the current, and because you're trying to equate electromagnetic energy with fish behavior. And they're moving, they're doing something different. I mean, we might not find there's any difference between the red and the green area.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, I mean, they've done trials in previous where the current has been running, and I don't think there's been any correlation between before and after they put in the cable, right?
No, but
We've seen the data with the fish.
But we're not done yet. Yeah.
But we've seen some of the, all right, then.
this design,
See the comparison.
You haven't seen the comparison? I thought we did.
the design that we're looking at here that I really like is the red versus the green. It's a time series. It's like over 5 years, we can compare the red and the green, and we have a good data set. The other one, like we were missing, we didn't have the robust data that we have here. And I think it's a good study design. So.
Yeah, it'll help.
Can I do one more before we move to the next one? It's not on the agenda, but it's the latest blue-green algae counts, if I can figure out how to get this. So this is latest blue-green algae counts for Swan Pond and Pond Lane Pond and Lionhead. So there haven't been too many weeks that they found blue-green algae, but they did find them in the last 2 samplings on July 28th and last week, August 6th. So Pond Lane Pond rose from 41 to 76 micrograms per liter. And Swan Pond dropped from 71 to 66 micrograms per liter. And they're all kind of different species that they're finding in both ponds. So That's the latest on that. And
So
then,
what, a week later? Pretty close, right?
yeah, that's a week.
What confuses me is when we first brought in on this, there had been a history of several years of Swan Pond having the issue. And since we've been there, it seems to have jumped from Swan to, what's the other one, Pond Lane?
Well, this year they're both, I think last year it was all Pond Lane, if I recall
Yeah.
correctly. And the first year it was Swan Pond, all Swan Pond.
Right, but,
this
and I
year
think it had been previous to that.
I think it was, yeah, Swan Pond was the first, and it was, more than a year that there was blue-green algae in that pond and nothing in Pond Lane. But last year it was the opposite, all Pond Lane pond. And this year there's, there's some in both. So I'm not sure.
And nothing's really changed there as far as addressing the issue. The only thing that's happening is testing.
Right. And whatever different climatological conditions there are, rainfall probably has an impact because at least in Pond Lane Pond, there's all the road drains go right into the pond.
Is there any difference in the depths?
I really don't know. There's signs up in both ponds though, so.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
And then this is Wainscott Pond. So the top graph is 2024, and the bottom graph is this year, 2025. And the data points outlined in red are the current, well, on the bottom, it's the current reading. So that's what's that, two something, 258 or something? And then the outline in red from the 2024 series is the corresponding date last summer. So you can see
So it's about
we're
half.
significantly lower this summer than last summer. So that's it. And I think they'll be out there again this week. So
In general, it's a lot lower.
yeah, well, yeah, that's been lower.
And again, there's nothing different going on there except testing.
Except maybe lack of rain.
Well, I
We
asked
had
Chris.
so much rain earlier in the season.
But then it's been a long dry spell.
And if you look at the numbers earlier, they're substantially lower.
How about the temperature? Was it cooler this year or?
Early in the season, it was a cool spring.
Yeah, it was
Hot
very
summer.
cool. Yeah.
Well, Chris seems to think that, there's a possibility that the high counts from last year, may have basically the bloom may have burned itself out. And that could be one reason for the lower numbers is, you get a bloom that goes up so high that it, once it starts to die off, it may stay low for a while.
Are there, what fish are there in Wainscott Pond?
I don't know.
Anyone ever chatted? Does anyone know?
Carp?
Doesn't seem like many could survive.
We've only recently gained access to the pond.
I'm
I was
curious. I mean,
down
are there fish
there.
surviving there?
Probably something.
Gotta be something,
The
right?
birds were working on, pecking around the edges of the pond, so there must be life in the bottom, in the sediment. So there must be, I don't know about fish.
Somebody should take a seine in there and see what they come up with.
Yeah, the town
What about
owns.
shrimp?
Not going in it.
Wear protective clothes.
Fresh water, it's fresh water.
Yeah, the translucent shrimp.
The Gobler Lab has put in an application to do some preliminary work in there in anticipation of putting up a permeable reactive barrier along the shoreline to intercept some of the nitrogen going into the pond. So there may be some of that work that's included in that proposal.
It's a good
I
idea.
haven't seen it yet, but
I wonder if they'll find entry points, like discrete points where it's coming in, so that you don't end up bringing the whole pond, you know.
I think that's been the case in the work that's been done around town otherwise by Ron Paulson and Molly.
Right.
They do find, like the PRB that was installed at Peter Mendelman's at 60 Harborview Lane was installed there because they found that was a real conduit right in that locality for high nitrogen coming from upland.
At the general store, they found a discrete plume coming from the, upland. But then it seemed like it moved, according to Molly, like they weren't getting, so the plumes can move, I guess, underground. But she watches it very carefully. Put in additional wells by the school.
Yeah, there's also a big PRB down where the kids are going to do their oyster reefs across the way, behind the trailer park off 3 Mile Harbor Road. That's been there for a couple of years, continuing to be monitored. So that's it.
All right. We'll go back to 3 Mile Harbor and Peter Mendelman for Halsey's Marina. You want to close out trustee permit T724 for emergency piling replacement? I don't know who has that.
Yeah, we gave a permit last fall, I think it was, to replace 18 pilings on an emergency basis at Halsey's Marina. They replaced 16 of them. The other 2, they didn't feel real needed. I met with Peter, went over the pilings that have been replaced, and I'm ready to make a motion to close out that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Following bills need to be paid, so we're down to administrative, sorry. East Hampton Marina, $140, $177.24, $149.66, $152.35, and $148. 3 Mile Harbor Fuel, $508.34 for oil change and maintenance. East Hampton Star, $202.60 for legal ed for powering of clams. Seacoast Enterprises Associates, $99.82. Van Dyke and Hand CPA, $895. That's our accountant. And Norwalkie Smith for the audit, $10,000.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And I have one quick thing. I anticipate receiving our payment from Ørsted soon. I know it's been released, and I was wondering if anyone would be opposed to putting that into the NICLAS account.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's a similar interest rate as bonds, and
If we need
we
to
have the
access it.
liquidity.
You can, right?
Good.
What was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
We have no plans to use that for any projects in the near
Not yet.
future either, right? Okay.
We should probably be thinking about projects that we want to embark on or fund.
Yeah. Last year's payment didn't make it in there because of our funds being tied up. Yeah.
So we get that money, it's released by the town technically, is that right? Or no?
Well, Ørsted, no, we have a separate lease. Ørsted makes one payment, and then the town takes our portion out. sends it to us.
I see.
They transfer it to us.
I see.
But it's for a totally separate lease.
Okay.
John, are we okay with the powering?
We have to discuss that. The power,
Yeah, that's not on here. Yeah, okay.
it just came in Friday after the agenda was set.
Powering? Soft clams.
Powering, there was a 2-week period for fishermen to apply for the special permit for powering. That ended on Friday. The powering is supposed to start today, the season start today. There's a little bit of a question, though. One of the applicants admitted to paying a fine for a violation and wrote an explanation of the minor nature of the violation. We contacted Tim Treadwell, the chief harbor master, and got his take on the nature of the violation and how it might impact this particular applicant getting a permit or being denied a permit. There's language in the resolution that says that a permit won't be allowed if there's been a violation of the Shellfish Code in the last year. So this falls into that category. The harbor master, Tim, felt as though it was a very minor violation. It was half a dozen undersized clams in a catch of about 3 to 4 dozen. And he didn't feel as though the nature of that violation would warrant keeping this person from getting a powering. So I don't know, did we approve the resolution 3 or 4 weeks ago? I'll ask Rick, can we modify that resolution by motion tonight to allow this particular applicant to receive a special permit for powering?
My advice would be yes. I saw the email, so I'm familiar with the facts. I guess the rule that you're referring to is simply done by a resolution?
It was a resolution.
Okay, and we done it fairly recently, it sounds like, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to say that you have the discretion to modify that, and based on circumstances, you find the circumstances are such that the application of that rule to this individual, is not fair or just, and I think you can modify its application.
Yeah, I mean, if that's his only offense and he kind of brought it up himself, it seems fair to let him slide. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have to vote on that?
He paid the fine too.
Yeah, paid the fine, so, yeah.
He already paid.
Well, actually, this person paid the fine, so never technically got convicted.
Right, he pled guilty.
Violation and just
And they disclosed it themselves, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's no trouble.
No, I'm not opposed to this. My only question is, do we have to, we have to actually modify the resolution to
How about just under this one?
Well,
include a way for people to.
I don't know, but you have to modify the resolution. You have to make a decision right away on this, right? Because powering is starting or about to start.
Yeah, it started today. This person put their application in before the deadline.
I think I would just have to say, if you're in favor of allowing this person to participate, just make a motion, note it in your minutes that the circumstances that, you're not going to strictly apply the rules set forth in your prior resolution in this case. I don't want to make this overly complicated. Just do it verbally and note it in your minutes.
I I think in the future, we have to add language to the resolution to specifically give us that discretion.
Yeah, that would be best long-term.
Could you just put the word serious, make it a serious violation, and we could determine what it is?
We do a resolution every year for this, right? Each year has its own.
Yeah, for this thing, I think we should just
So next year, yeah, we should
give them the permit.
work on leaving an avenue to. Yes, okay.
So I'll make a motion that we, in this case, grant the permit to this applicant due to the minor nature of the infraction and on recommendation of the chief harbor master.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anybody else have anything?
David,
No, we were just working on other contests today, and, I'll be getting everyone some jobs, hopefully, and I'll see who's gonna help out and everything. So that's October 5th, Sunday, 12 to 3. Everyone, it's gonna be a good one. Everyone come on down. Bring your clams.
All right. Do you have a motion, please?
Motion opposed.
Second.
In favor? Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason.
Ben.
All good, everybody. Have a great night. Take care.